who has been a great asset to know the last couple of years, Briana Scurry.
Briana Scurry, I like that. That's a new one. Thank you, Catherine. Wow, tough act to follow. You too. I really appreciate your honesty, your openness, and your willingness to share your daughter's story with us, because it's stories like that that really are going to help us move forward and to help educate. And I know it's incredibly difficult, and I really appreciate it, and I think we all do. Another hand for them, please, for sharing that. Thank you. Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you, Catherine. My name is Briana Scurry. I'm a two-time Olympic gold medalist and World Cup champion. Had a fantastic soccer career from 1994 to 2008. I played honorably and gleefully for my country, winning 2 gold medals, like I said, and having an amazing impact on people all over the world in a positive manner through playing the sport that I was so passionate about and a sport that I loved, of soccer. And it was a dream for me. Ever since I was 7 years old, I wanted to be an Olympian. And I was very fortunate to be able to find my way to the podium not once but twice, and also to win gold not once but twice. So that was a fantastic honor for me and wonderful experience for me. After I played women's soccer at the international level until 2008, I went on to play club soccer with the Washington Freedom in 2009 and 2010. And one day in particular, April 25th, 2010, changed my life forever. I was playing in a game, and I got hit in the side of the head by an opposing player's knee, and everything in my life changed. From that moment on, I had dizziness, I had imbalances, I had memory loss, difficulty sleeping, sensitivities to light, sound, and movement. I was scared. I was worried. Granted, I was 30 years old and I had already had a fantastic career. But even at 38, I wasn't quite ready to be done yet. But I have not played since. And that was 6 years ago. After that time, I went through several months of therapy, of doctors not quite knowing what was wrong with me, of subjective testing, doctor after doctor telling me month after month after month, year after year after year, that I should be fine, that I should be better, that it's not going to get any better than it was at that moment. At that point, when I was depressed, I had anxiety, I was not myself, I was suicidal, and that was the hardest 3 or 4 years of my life. It wasn't until 2013 that I finally, thank goodness, finally found a doctor who was able to diagnose me with post-concussive syndrome. I had occipital nerve damage, and I have all these basket of issues, but the one thing that made such a difference for me was I finally found the doctor that knew what to do with me. And I know it's the case for so many of us that we end up running into doctors that don't know, and I understand that there's a certain pride, and I know several of you in this room are doctors, so that's why I'm talking about this. There's a certain amount of pride that you all have and you should have, and I absolutely agree with it. But if you just don't know, it's okay to say, you know what, I know you're hurting, I don't quite know what to do, but let me see if I can find someone who can help you. That is so much better than to say to someone, you should be fine by now, or to tell them that it's all in their head. Because you're right, it is in their head, but it may be a lot different than what you think it is. And so for me, my life changed. And thank goodness I found a doctor who could diagnose me properly. I ended up having a surgery, ironically, at Georgetown. bilateral occipital nerve surgery, and it was a huge success for me. 2 months after that, I started my therapy with my balance and my cognitive issues, and a year later, I was finally fired, as I like to say, by my doctor in October 2014. At that time, during those times when I was doing therapy and going through it all, I thought to myself, what am I going to do about this? If I had so much trouble trying to find the right doctor as an Olympic gold medalist and World Cup champion, I can only imagine how many people might be out there who can't quite find the right doctor, who aren't quite sure what to do with themselves, parents who maybe not know how to handle their children, children that may not know that they have a problem, athletes like me who don't want to do anything but get back in that game. How do we find the help? And I thought to myself, you know what, I need to do something. So I started to become a concussion advocate. I started to become an advocate in part because of my situation, but also because I read an article. I read an article that stated, for my sport, 1 out of 2 female soccer players will suffer a concussion at one point in their playing career. I was astonished. I was in soccer and I had no idea that it was that high, second only to NFL football players at that point. And so I decided I needed to do something. Ever since then, I've testified before Congress talking about sports safety and concussion. I've allowed my story to be written about in any magazine and article that, or newspaper that will write about it, in the USA Today, in the Washington Post, and at Brainline, in the Philadelphia Inquirer. The reason I've done this, the reason I've opened the kimono, as I like to say, about what has happened to me is because, for the same reason that these wonderful people are talking about their daughter, because they're trying to help people. They're trying to change the culture of the sport, of the area, of the space of concussion. They're trying to do something because when you've suffered through it, whether you're a parent or a best friend of somebody or it's you want to do something to help other people. And I think these young ladies up here can also attest to that. At this point now, I'm excited. I'm excited to see all you folks here because ever since my hit 6 years ago, and it'll be 6 years in April, I have done so many amazing appearances and met so many great people. And the beautiful thing is that something like this that we're having today didn't exist back then. There's new technology. There's new people in the space. There's new research. One of the most wonderful things that I've seen recently is a situation that I had is I took several tests and I was an athlete. I thought I could just figure it out and game these tests. One of the great technologies that I've seen that you guys have already seen here today is BNA technology. It is a non-invasive test that you cannot game. That is so important that you can't game it. So an athlete can get hooked up and get tested, and it's going to be an additional tool that you can use to help with the darkness, to try to make some sense out of this black cauldron that is concussion. I work in this space not just because I'm compelled to, but because I want to help people. I want to make the next 40 years of my life more impactful than the first 40 years of my life. And all of you are here today are all going to help me because I know concussion has hit every single one of you in this room in one way or another. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And I'm grateful that you're here. And thank you so much to Catherine for allowing me to be here and to speak to you folks and to tell my story once again. And I will tell it and tell it and tell it until we get where we need to go. And with the help of all of you, all of us together in this room, we can go very far. Thank you.
I just wanted to put the thank yous in between. My 3 sons and my foreign exchange student who's like a son are up there. Can you guys wave? I don't have daughters. I have 3 sons.